Joining us now to discuss what's happening in Basra is Renad Mansour. He is a research fellow at the Middle East and North Africa program at Chatham House, where he specializes in Iraqi affairs. Of course, thanks very much for coming in to speak to us. So, remarkable developments in the past few days. We have seen protesters in the southern Iraqi city of Basra attack or torch government buildings, including the office of the Dawa party, the offices of the state-run TV station, and then also the headquarters of the Iran-backed groups in the area. How serious are these protests?
I mean, what we've been saying is very much Basra specifically is the next fault line in the sort of the 15-year story that is Iraq since 2003. The people of Basra, but elsewhere in Iraq, but particularly in Basra, are just fed up. And what they see in their capital city is a political elite that just is unable to fix anything, is unable to use institutions to bring about real change. Because of that, they think that the only way to get their voice heard is through these, let's say, extra-legal tactics. And they're going against all of the elite. They're not on one side. They're, to some extent, as we've discussed in the past, they're really leaderless for now. But they don't want to be quieted down. And they've lost the barrier of fear. And they don't think what's happening today with the government formation in Baghdad will result to any of the changes that they're demanding. Very basic changes, by the way. They want their water to be clear and clean rather than muddy. They want salaries. They want a basic standard of living. They don't think that the current leadership, Sunni, Shia, Kurdish, right, left wing, whatever you have, it can do that.
And you mention what the protesters calls. They're angry about unemployment, but a lack of basic services, including electricity shortages. Probably what is most disturbing about all of this are the contaminated water and the fact that they don't have access to clean drinking water. When you think about specifically where Basra is located in Iraq by the Tigris and the Euphrates.
Yeah, I mean, historically, it's Basra is where the cradle of civilization in Iraq would come from. It's full of resources, energy, water, you know, the environment. And until now, millions have been spent on fixing it, but nothing has been done. And if you speak to many of the scientists, many people who are expertise in fixing the water, it doesn't require all that money. It doesn't require that much. It just requires efficiency, which means that the millions that are being invested in reconstructing Iraq need to not go away from the political elite and move towards trickling down to the citizens. Many people have said this. Many people think there is the expertise there, but it's very difficult to see with the current institutions those kind of funds trickling down and fixing these very basic needs.
But it's easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Corruption cuts to the heart of all of these problems. That is perhaps the most serious challenge facing the country and is now becoming a threat to the authority of the government. Is anything likely to change in the short-term future to get this trickle-down effect?
Yeah, well, I mean, corruption is the elephant in the room that, I mean, you can't escape. What you have in Iraq today is a leadership that ran for elections, that is forming a new government, that have all been the same leadership since the last 15 years, who are promising to fight corruption. Well, what does that actually mean? It means fighting against themselves. What does targeting corruption mean? All the leaders have been part of this system. There's no new leader or new party emerging. So fighting corruption, many of the Iraqis on the street right now are telling me it's farcical. How can the same people who are part of the problem all of a sudden promise to make changes? They've heard these promises before, and I think 15 years on, it's gotten to the brink where they just don't believe it.
Thank you very much, Renad Mansour from Chatham House.